Alright, today is your last big lesson of the unit. Next class we'll do a wrap-up and a review, and then after that we'll do your test. So today the students will learn the difference between independent and dependent events in order to give the probability of those events. So we're going to start with independent. Independent is two events that do not affect each other. So the occurrence of A does not affect B whatsoever. An example of this could be flipping a coin twice. Because if you flick heads the first time, that does not take any option away for the second time. You could still flip heads the second time. Another one would be for having kids, having 4 boys in a row. Whatever you had the first time does not affect what you have the second time. So just because you had a boy the first time does not mean you're going to have a girl with your second child. And in our cases today, replacing cards in the deck is going to be independent. So if you want to think of your own non-examples, go ahead. I'm not going to be worried about them though. So your formula for this, if A and B are independent events, then the probability of P and B happening is P, probability of A, times the probability of B. Okay? So, in our first example, you have a US roulette wheel. That is this. So, hopefully you have not been to a casino, because I don't believe you all are 21. And a roulette wheel is something you bet on, and typically you might have seen it in movies where they throw the dice and then spin the number. So they spin it multiple times, but each spin does not affect the other. So normally there's 38 numbered slots. Okay? Of the 38 compartments, 18 are black, 18 are red, and 2 are green. So you're going to spin the wheel, and there's a small ball that goes in a direction, and when the ball stops, it has equal probability of landing on any of the numbered slots. So you want to find the probability of red occurring on 2 consecutive plays. So that basically means the probability of red and red. So what would happen is you would roll, you would see what you get, and then you would just roll again. No numbers get taken off the board, no dice get added in. So what that means is you take the probability of red, which that's going to be 18 out of 38, and now you're going to multiply it times the probability of getting another red. Okay? And for fractions, when you multiply, you can multiply straight across. So 18 times 18 is 324, and then 38 times 38 is 1,444. And so what I will be coming around and checking is your simplified answer. By now, you need to make sure you are simplifying. If you turn your packet in without simplified answers, I will mark it wrong. Okay? Alright, now you're going to find the probability of having 9 girls in a row. So that would be like P of 9 times P of 9 times P of 9. So the probability of having 9 girls, so thinking about your first child, you have a 1 in 2 spot of having a girl. Your next child, you have a 1 in 2 chance of having a girl. And so on until you have your 9 kids. Which, after you have your 9 kids, you're probably going to have your hands full. But just because you had 8 girls the first 8 times does not mean on your 9th child you have a higher probability of having a girl. Okay? And I will be checking your simplified answer. Alright, so now in number 3, you have a 52 card deck. Then the card is replaced and the deck is shuffled again. So that is what makes it independent. So that is the most important part in this question, is that the card is replaced and you reshuffle. So your probability of getting a picture card So you want a picture card and then a heart. So if you remember from last class, the keyword was or. This class, the keyword is and. So the probability of having a picture card is 12 out of 52 times the cards replaced back in, so you still have 52 cards, and now you have 13 hearts. So multiply, and then I will be checking your simplified answer. Okay? All right. Now we want a jack and then a club. And again, the cards replaced. So we're going to be out of 52 each time. You start with 4 jacks, and there are 13 clubs. And I will be checking your simplified fraction. Okay? So, the last example for independent is getting a king each time. Well, it's going to be 4 out of 52. And then even if you pick a king, you put the cat card back. So if you picked a king, you put the king back, and you could still have 4 opportunities to pick another king. Okay? And I'll be checking your, again, I'll be around to check your simplified answers. Dependent is pretty much the opposite, where the occurrence of one event has an effect on the probability of the other. So in this case, that would be not replacing a card. Or taking something out and basically not replacing it. So taking something or someone out so that they take away from your total. Okay, so your example here, the probability of P and B occurring, the probability of A and B occurring would be probability of A times the probability of B given that A has occurred. You have to assume you've got that first probability. So in our example, what makes this one, because it's very similar to the last 3 on your on the front side, is this statement right here. The card is not replaced and you draw again. So getting a picture card that first time, you have 4 out of 52 chances. Now you assume you got a picture card, so you don't put it back in the deck. So now you only have 51 cards and you have 13 hearts to choose from. And again, simplify. Okay, and the next one, you have a jack. So there's 13 jacks. So we're going to assume we get a jack, so there's 51 cards left. And now, we don't necessarily have to get the jack of clubs, so that's not going to affect the club part, but it affects the total part. So there's 13 clubs. Oh, shoot. There are 4 jacks, not 13. Okay, and oh, that's probably going to be the same answer as part A. Okay, and then your last example, probability of getting a king each time. So that's 4 out of 52. Now, you have to remember, you have to assume that A occurred. So if you pick a king, you only have 3 kings left. And now you have 51 cards left. And so check out what that simplifies to. Okay, so remember, this was your last big lesson today. I'll be around to answer questions and check simplified fractions. If you have makeup work, you probably should start getting that done. You also need to make sure you get today's classwork done so you're ready for today's closure. So make sure you pick up the correct paper. Hopefully people in your group have, some have the colored, some have the white, and then you can kind of compare and share and work together.